The energy shields flickered and died across the port side of the daybreak. Commander Arvin gripped his command chair as another explosion rocked the flagship. Through the viewport, he watched 3 more council vessels break apart under the relentless Kryn assault. This was the end. Talus Station burned in the distance, its docking pylons torn away by enemy fire. Civilian evacuation ships huddled behind the tattered remains of the defense fleet. 12 hours ago, Arvin commanded 47 warships. Now only 19 remained operational. The Kryn Dominion had brought overwhelming force to this border system. 3 massive dreadnoughts supported by dozens of cruisers. Their weapons technology surpassed anything the Galactic Council possessed. "Commander, enemy vessels charging weapons for another volley," his tactical officer announced. The young Chithar's antenna drooped with exhaustion. They had been fighting for 6 hours without respite. Arvin studied the tactical display. Red hostile markers surrounded the blue friendly icons. There was no path to victory here, only the choice of how they would face defeat. He opened a channel to all remaining ships. "All vessels, this is Commander Arvin. We cannot win this engagement, but we can buy time for the civilians to escape, concentrate all fire on the lead dreadnought, make them pay for every meter they advance." The council captains acknowledged his orders. Alumi's crystalline cruiser positioned itself directly in the enemy's path, its captain willing to sacrifice everything. The Drell aquatic destroyers formed a defensive screen, their sleek ships darting between larger vessels. Every species present understood what came next. The Kryn commander's voice echoed across all frequencies. "Surrender your station and withdraw. We will allow your evacuation ships to depart unharmed. Resist further and we will destroy everything." Arvin knew the Kryn never honored such promises. Their expansion across this sector left only ash and silence. He was preparing his response when his sensor officer shouted, "Commander, massive energy signature detected. Something is emerging from Slipstream." The main display shifted. At the edge of the battlefield, space itself seemed to tear open. A single vessel emerged, larger than any council ship. Its hull was dark gray, almost black, covered in angular armor plating. Weapon ports lined every surface. The design was utilitarian, built for function rather than elegance. Attempting to identify, the sensor officer worked frantically. "No match in our databases. Design is completely unknown. Energy readings are off the scale." The Kryn fleet noticed the newcomer. Several cruisers adjusted their positions, weapons tracking the mysterious vessel. Arvin tried to hail the unknown ship. Static filled the channel before a calm voice responded. "This is Captain Harris of the United Colonies naval ship Relentless. We received your distress beacon. Are you in need of assistance?" Arvin's translator struggled with the accent, but the words were clear. "Unknown vessel. I am Commander Arvin of the Galactic Council Defense Fleet. We are under attack by hostile forces. Our position is desperate. Who are you?" "We are from Earth. Humanity recently began exploring this region of space. Your beacon indicated civilians were in danger. That's all we needed to know." Harris paused. "With your permission, we would like to help." The Kryn commander interrupted. "Unknown vessel. You are interfering in Dominion military operations. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed." Harris's response was polite but firm. "I'm afraid we cannot do that. Those civilian ships need protection. I suggest you withdraw your forces instead." Laughter echoed from the Kryn channel. "You are one ship. We are an armada. Your destruction will take moments." "Perhaps," Harris replied. "But those moments will be very educational for you, Commander Arvin. I recommend you pull your ships back behind the civilian vessels. This might get intense." Arvin wanted to argue, to explain that one ship could not turn this battle, but something in Harris's tone stopped him. This human captain spoke with absolute confidence. Not arrogance, simply certainty. "All council ships fall back to defensive positions around the evacuation fleet." The Relentless moved forward, its engines flaring bright blue. The ship accelerated to impossible speeds. Physics seemed to bend around its hull. The lead Kryn dreadnought opened fire. Massive energy beams that had torn through Council shields struck the human vessel. The beams splashed harmlessly against invisible barriers, not even slowing the Relentless down. Arvin's sensor officer made a choking sound. "Commander, their shield strength is reading at 15 times our maximum capacity. How is that possible?" The human ship closed to weapons range. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the Relentless fired. The sound reached them even through the vacuum, a deep thrumming that vibrated through every hull plate. Railgun rounds traveling at relativistic speeds hammered the Kryn dreadnought, followed by missile salvos and energy weapons of unknown type. The Kryn vessel's shields collapsed instantly. Armor plating shattered. Secondary explosions rippled across its hull. One salvo, a single devastating attack, and the mighty Kryn dreadnought was crippled, drifting powerless, its weapons dark, its engines dead. The entire battlefield fell silent, Council and Kryn forces both stunned by what they had witnessed. The Relentless continued forward, positioning itself between the civilians and the enemy fleet. Harris's voice remained calm, almost casual. "I will say this once more, withdraw your forces, leave these people in peace, or we will remove you ourselves." The two remaining Kryn dreadnoughts moved to engage. Dozens of cruisers repositioned, forming attack patterns. The human ship stood alone against impossible odds. Arvin realized he was watching something unprecedented. Humanity had entered galactic affairs, and nothing would ever be the same. Harris gave one final order to his crew. "All stations, combat protocols, protect those civilians at all costs." The real battle was about to begin. 50 Kryn warships concentrated their fire on the Relentless. The human vessel vanished behind a wall of explosions and energy beams. Arvin held his breath. No ship could survive that kind of punishment. But when the weapon's fire cleared, the Relentless emerged intact, its shields glowing bright gold from absorbed energy. "Impossible," his tactical officer whispered. "They should be vapor." The human ship rotated smoothly, presenting fresh shield sections to the enemy while damaged areas regenerated. Harris's voice came through calm and measured. "All weapons, firing Solution Alpha, split targeting between Dreadnoughts 2 and 3. Make it count." What happened next would be studied in military academies for generations. The Relentless fired everything simultaneously. Railguns hammered one dreadnought while missiles tracked the other. Energy weapons swept through the Kryn cruiser formations. Each weapon system operated independently, targeting different threats, working in perfect synchronization. It was like watching a deadly ballet. 2. Kryn cruisers exploded. Their reactors breached. The second dreadnought's shields collapsed under sustained railgun fire. The third dreadnought tried to maneuver away, but human missiles adjusted course mid-flight, tracking their target with relentless precision. Explosions blossomed across its hull. Arvin's communication officer spoke urgently. "Commander, the human ship is transmitting tactical data directly to us. Shield frequencies, weapon vulnerabilities, structural weak points. Everything they're learning in real time." "Can we use it?" Arvin asked. "Already implementing. Our targeting computers are upgrading as we speak. This information is incredibly detailed." Arvin made a decision. "All ships, coordinate with human tactical data. Focus fire on damaged enemy vessels. Let's help our new friend." The Council fleet surged forward. Chithar fighters exploited the weaknesses Harris identified, their small weapons finally penetrating Kryn shields. Lumi's cruisers concentrated fire on specific points, overwhelming local defenses. Drell destroyers harassed larger ships, keeping them off balance. For the first time since the battle began, Council forces were winning. The Kryn commander recognized the threat. "All vessels focus exclusively on the human ship. Ignore the others, kill that vessel, and we win." Every Kryn ship in range opened fire on the Relentless. The concentration of firepower was staggering. Arvin watched in horror as the human shields began to flicker. Even their incredible technology had limits. "Harris, pull back. You cannot withstand that much fire." "Negative, Commander. If we move, they will target the civilians. We hold this position." Harris spoke to his crew. Engineering, rotate shield frequencies, all power to forward sections. Helm, hold us steady. Inside the Relentless, the human crew worked with mechanical efficiency. No panic, no wasted motion. Engineers rerouted power manually as conduits overloaded. Tactical officers maintained firing solutions while consoles sparked around them. Medical teams moved through corridors, treating wounded without slowing down. Every crew member knew their duty. 3 Kryn cruisers broke formation, accelerating toward the civilian evacuation ships. They intended to force the humans to move. Arvin opened his mouth to warn Harris, but the human captain had already seen them. Intercepting, stand by. The Relentless rotated impossibly. Fast for a ship its size, thrusters firing in complex patterns. It moved between the cruisers and civilians, taking hits meant for unarmed vessels. Arvin watched the human ship's armor crack under direct fire. Hull breaches reported across multiple decks, but Harris never flinched. "Weapons, remove those 3 ships from my battlefield," Harris ordered. The human railgun spoke again. 3 devastating salvos, 3 cruisers reduced to debris, all in under 10 seconds, but the Relentless paid for that protection. Severe damage across its port side. Casualties reported, fires spreading through interior sections. Arvin had to ask, "Captain Harris, why risk your ship and crew for people you do not know? We are strangers to humanity." Harris was quiet for a moment when he spoke. His voice carried weight. "Commander, my species almost destroyed itself through war. We fought each other for thousands of years, learned every possible way to inflict suffering. We nearly went extinct 3 times, through plagues, through weapons, through our own hatred." "Then what changed?" Arvin asked. "We learned that survival means protecting those who cannot protect themselves. We learned that strength without purpose is just cruelty. We learned that someone has to stand between the innocent and the darkness. Might as well be us." Harris paused. "On Earth we have a saying, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. We refuse to do nothing." Those words echoed across the Council fleet. Species who had evolved on peaceful worlds, who had never known predators or true hardship, began to understand what humanity represented. They were warriors who chose peace, killers who defended life, shaped by a harsh world into something the galaxy had never seen. The Kryn fleet was faltering. They had lost 30 ships. Both remaining dreadnoughts were heavily damaged. Their crews had never faced an enemy like this, one that would not break, would not retreat, would accept any cost to protect others. Then the Kryn commander made his final decision. "All ships, overload reactors, maximum yield, kamikaze protocols. If we cannot win, we will take them with us." 12 cruisers began accelerating beyond safe speeds, their reactors building to critical overload. They would ram the Council ships and civilians, creating explosions powerful enough to destroy everything. Arvin felt ice in his veins. They could not intercept all of them. Harris saw it too. "All crew, brace for impact. We are moving to intercept, divert everything to forward shields." He knew what this meant. Some of those impacts would get through. His ship, his crew, might not survive. But the Relentless moved forward anyway, placing itself in the path of destruction, because that is what humans did. The first kamikaze cruiser slammed into the Relentless forward shields at full speed. The explosion lit up the entire battlefield. Energy readings spiked beyond what Council sensors could measure. The human ship shuddered but held position. 2 seconds later, the second impact hit, then the third. Inside the Relentless, bulkheads buckled, power conduits exploded, entire sections depressurized in seconds. The engineering crew chief yelled over the alarms. "Shield generators 1 through 4 are offline, rerouting through secondaries. We cannot take many more hits." Harris remained standing despite blood running down his face from a gash across his forehead. "Hold position, they will not get past us." His voice carried absolute conviction. The crew fed on that certainty, working harder, refusing to give up. The fourth impact breached the outer hull. Atmosphere vented into space. 20 crew members in that section died instantly. Medical teams rushed toward the damaged areas, sealing what they could, retrieving who they could. Harris received the casualty report without changing expression. He would mourn later. Right now he had a duty. Arvin could not watch this anymore. All Council ships form defensive formation around the Relentless, protect them like they protected us. His order sparked something in every Council captain. These humans had put themselves between death and strangers. Honor demanded they return that sacrifice. Chithar fighters swarmed forward, their point defense lasers creating a web of fire, intercepting 2 kamikaze cruisers before they reached the human ship. Lumi's cruisers moved alongside the Relentless, extending their shield technology. It was not compatible with human systems, but every little bit helped. Drell destroyers engaged the remaining Kryn forces, preventing them from supporting the suicide attack. For the first time in Council history, species that barely cooperated were working as one unit, coordinated by shared purpose, protecting the protector. The battle had transformed from desperate survival into something greater, proof that different peoples could unite when it mattered most. 3 more kamikaze ships broke through, heading directly for the damaged Relentless. Harris ordered full power to forward shields, knowing it would leave other sections vulnerable. The impacts came in rapid succession, each one worse than the last. The human ship's armor cracked, internal explosions rippled through multiple decks, but it held, battered, bleeding, on fire in a dozen places, but still fighting. The final kamikaze cruiser made its run. The Relentless had nothing left. Shields were gone, weapons depleted, engines barely functional. Arvin watched helplessly as the enemy vessel closed the distance. Then a Chithar heavy fighter threw itself into the cruiser's path. The young pilot's last transmission was simple. For the humans, for those who stand. The collision destroyed both vessels. Silence fell across the battlefield. The remaining Kryn forces, seeing their final gambit fail, seeing the human ship refuse to break, made the decision to retreat. 23 enemy vessels jumped to slipstream, fleeing the system, leaving their dead behind. The Battle of Talus Station was over. The Relentless drifted in space, life support failing on multiple decks, main reactor operating at barely 40%, hull breaches everywhere. Arvin requested permission to board, bringing every medical team and repair crew his fleet could spare. Harris granted access, his voice hoarse from smoke inhalation. When Arvin first stepped onto the human ship, he was struck by the organized chaos. Crew members helping each other, no panic, no despair, just grim determination to save their vessel and their crewmates. Human medical personnel treated wounded without regard for severity. Everyone got care. Junior officers took command of damaged sections, maintaining order. Engineers worked with tools and spare parts, improvising repairs that should have been impossible. Harris met him in what remained of the command center. The human captain had refused medical attention until his crew was cared for. He stood among sparking consoles and buckled walls, still commanding, still focused. Arvin saw then what humans truly were. They were survivors, shaped by a world that tried to kill them, forged by wars that nearly ended them. And somehow they emerged not as monsters, but as guardians. Captain Harris, I must know, how did humanity develop such capability, such strength? Arvin asked. Harris gestured to a wall display, showing Earth, a blue and green world that looked beautiful from space. Commander, by your standards, Earth is what you would classify as a death world. Our gravity is 30% higher than Council standard. Our weather patterns include hurricanes that could tear apart structures. Our diseases evolved alongside us, constantly adapting. Our planet has tried to kill us since we climbed down from the trees. And you survived, Arvin said softly. We did more than survive. We thrived. We fought our environment. We fought diseases. We fought each other. For 10,000 years, we perfected the art of warfare. We built weapons that could end our civilization, came close to using them, learned restraint only after standing at the brink. Harris looked directly at Arvin. Every human carries genetic memory of that struggle. We are hardwired for survival, for protection, for refusing to quit no matter the odds. You could have been conquerors with such capability. You could dominate the galaxy, Arvin pointed out. We could have, but we chose differently. We learned that true strength is not in domination. It is in protection. We learned that the greatest victory is not defeating enemies. It is making enemies into friends. We learned that someone has to be the shield, might as well be those who know how to take a hit. Harris managed a tired smile. Besides, Commander, we have seen enough war. If we must fight, let it be to defend others, not to conquer them. 3 days later, the Galactic Council's High Command arrived at Talus Station. They had questions about these humans from Earth, about their technology, their intentions, their place in galactic affairs. Arvin stood beside Harris, preparing to introduce humanity to the wider galaxy, knowing that everything was about to change. The Council had lived in peace for centuries, protected by treaties and mutual agreements, but the Kryn attack proved that peace alone was not enough. They needed guardians, and humanity had just volunteered. High Counselor Torin arrived with an entourage representing 47 Council species. Each had heard about the battle. Each had their own perspective on these new humans. The meeting hall on Talus Station had been hastily repaired for this historic first contact. Arvin stood beside Harris, noting how calm the human captain remained despite the weight of this moment. Captain Harris, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I welcome humanity to the greater galactic community. Torin's voice carried the authority of his position. Your actions here have saved countless lives. We are grateful, but we also have many questions. Harris nodded respectfully. High Counselor, humanity is honored to meet you. We also have questions. This galaxy is new to us. We have much to learn. A Chithar military commander named Bress stepped forward. Your weapons technology surpasses anything we possess. Your shields withstood firepower that would destroy our heaviest vessels. Your tactics suggest extensive military experience. Humanity appears to be a warrior race. We are not a warrior race, Commander Bress, Harris replied carefully. We are a race that learned warfare through necessity. There is a difference. Warriors seek battle. We seek to prevent it, but we prepare for it nonetheless. Alumi's philosopher named Quinn spoke next, her crystalline form refracting the station lights. Yet you carry such devastating weapons. Why does humanity arm itself so heavily if you truly seek peace? Harris considered his words. My people have a saying, si vis pacem, parabellum. It means if you want peace, prepare for war. We learned through terrible experience that weakness invites aggression, that good intentions without capability accomplish nothing. We maintain our military strength so that we hopefully never need to use it. An aggressive philosophy, Quinn observed. A pragmatic one, Harris corrected gently. The Kryn attacked civilians here. Would you have preferred we arrived unarmed and hopeful? How many more would have died while we debated peaceful solutions with an enemy that respects only strength? Silence greeted his question. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably. Torin raised a hand. Your point is noted, Captain. The Council has lived in relative peace for 3 centuries. We have grown perhaps too comfortable, too trusting. The recent attacks have exposed our vulnerability. Which brings us to why we are here. A Drell economist named Farron interjected. The Council wishes to extend an invitation to humanity. We would like Earth to join our alliance, to share in trade, knowledge, and mutual defense. However, he paused. We must discuss the matter of your military capability. It makes some members uncomfortable. Harris understood immediately. You want restrictions on human fleet deployment, limits on where our ships can go, assurances that we will not use our technology against Council members. Would such terms be acceptable? Torin asked. No, Harris replied simply. The room erupted in murmurs. He waited for silence. High Counselor, humanity spent 500 years unified under Earth government. We have 40 colony worlds, a population exceeding 9 billion. We did not achieve this by surrendering our security to others. We will not start now. Bress stepped forward. Then what assurance do we have that humanity will not become a threat, that your fleets will not turn on us once you learn our weaknesses? Harris met his gaze. You have the same assurance we have about you, none. Trust must be built, not demanded, but I can offer you this. Humanity will enter any mutual defense treaty where terms are equal. We will defend Council space as we defend our own. We will share technology on a voluntary basis. We will participate in joint operations, but Earth Command remains independent. Our ships answer to our government, just as yours answer to the Council. Unacceptable, a delegate from a species Arvin did not recognize declared. We cannot allow an independent military force to operate in Council space without oversight. Arvin had remained silent but now spoke. With respect, humanity already proved their intentions. They risked everything to save us, asked for nothing in return. What more proof do you need? That was one incident, the delegate argued. What about the next crisis? What if human interests conflict with Council interests? Whose side will they choose? Harris addressed this directly. If human interests conflict with Council interests, we will choose based on what is right, not what is convenient. We will defend the innocent, protect the vulnerable, stand against aggression, whether that aligns with Earth interests or not. This is not negotiable. This is who we are. Torin studied the human captain. You speak with certainty, but governments change, policies shift. How can we trust that future human leaders will hold these same principles? You cannot, Harris admitted. Just as we cannot guarantee future Council leadership will remain peaceful. But I can tell you that every human child learns our history, learns the cost of aggression, learns that we nearly destroyed ourselves through conquest and domination. Those lessons are burned into our culture. We remember what we were. We choose to be better. The debate continued for hours. Concerns about human military power, questions about Earth's expansion plans, worries about technology imbalances. Harris answered each question honestly, never promising more than humanity could deliver, never backing down on core principles. Arvin watched the human captain navigate complex political waters with the same skill he showed in combat. Finally, Torin called for a recess. This matter requires careful consideration. The full Council Assembly must vote on human membership. This will take time, perhaps 2 weeks. Harris nodded. We understand. May I make one request? While you deliberate, allow my ship and crew to remain here. We can assist with station repairs. Perhaps our engineers can work alongside yours. Let our peoples learn about each other through cooperation rather than just negotiation. It was a clever move. Arvin recognized it immediately. Letting Council species interact with humans in normal circumstances would do more than any diplomatic speech. Torin recognized it too and smiled. An excellent suggestion, Captain. Permission granted. Over the following days, human engineers worked beside Council technicians, shared meals, exchanged stories, taught each other. The crew of the Relentless became celebrities on Talus Station. Everywhere they went, civilians wanted to meet them, thank them, understand them. Barriers began to break down through simple human kindness. Then the emergency alert sounded. The Kryn had attacked 3 border colonies simultaneously. Thousands of civilians were dying. Council forces were hours away. But Earth's small fleet was closer. Harris did not wait for permission. He simply acted, because that was what humans did. Harris received the distress signals from Haven Colony first. His sensor officer barely finished the report before he was giving orders. All hands to battle stations. Plot course for Haven system. Maximum speed. Notify the other Earth ships. We are engaging. Torin tried to object. Captain, you do not have authorization. The Council must approve military action. People are dying right now, High Counselor, while we debate authorization. Families are being slaughtered. I will not wait for permission to do what is right. Harris turned to his crew. Helm. Jump to Slipstream, now. The Relentless and 4 other human ships jumped, leaving the Council delegates stunned. Arvin grabbed his communicator. All available Council forces pursue the human fleet. They are heading into a war zone. He looked at Torin. They are going to fight alone to save our people, while we argued about trust. It took the human fleet 8 hours to reach Haven Colony. They emerged into chaos. Kryn warships bombarded the surface. Orbital stations burned. Escape pods drifted through debris fields. The colony was home to 2 million Council citizens, mostly Drell families who had settled here generations ago. Now they faced extinction. Harris assessed the situation in seconds. All ships, The carrier launches fighters, provide close air support for ground forces. Cruisers form defensive perimeter around surviving stations. Relentless will engage the capital ships, make every shot count. We are outnumbered 5-1. The human vessels moved with practiced precision. Fighter squadrons screamed toward the planet, their pilots already identifying ground targets. The cruisers positioned themselves between civilians and attackers, weapons hot, ready to defend. The Relentless charged directly at 3 Kryn-heavy cruisers, seemingly suicidal but perfectly calculated. On Haven's surface, Drell civilians huddled in shelters watching their world burn. Then human fighters appeared, flying attack patterns that seemed impossible, targeting Kryn ground forces with surgical precision. One fighter pilot, Colsane Raptor, broadcasted to the civilians below. "Hang on down there, Earth's got you, nobody dies today." In orbit, the cruisers engaged Kryn vessels in close-quarters combat. Human captains used their ships like prize fighters, taking hits to deliver killing blows, protecting stations even as their own hulls cracked. One captain named Patterson deliberately rammed his damaged cruiser into a Kryn destroyer, saving a station with 8,000 civilians. His last transmission was simple: worth it. The Relentless fought like a cornered predator. Harris used every trick, every tactic, everything humanity learned through 10,000 years of warfare. He made the Kryn pay for every meter they advanced, for every shot they fired. The human crew worked with machine efficiency. Damage control teams sealed breaches while standing in fires. Gunners maintained firing solutions while consoles exploded around them. Nobody quit, nobody broke. Back at Talus Station, the Council Assembly watched through long-range sensors, saw humans fighting alone, dying alone, to save Council citizens they had never met. Quinn the Lumi's philosopher spoke softly. They did not hesitate, did not debate, they simply acted. While we worried about political implications, they chose to be heroes. Bress the military commander added, "They are taking casualties, losing ships, all to protect our people. What kind of species does this?" Arvin answered, "The kind we need, the kind the galaxy has been missing, the kind that stands between darkness and light, regardless of cost." Torin made his decision. "All Council forces, maximum speed to Haven Colony. The humans fight for us. We will fight beside them. Signal all member worlds. Humanity has earned our trust. The vote can wait. Right now we have allies who need us." The battle at Haven lasted 4 hours. By the time Council forces arrived, the human fleet had driven off the Kryn attackers, saved the colony, protected almost all civilians. But the cost was devastating. Patterson's cruiser was destroyed. 2 other ships were crippled. Fighter losses were 30%. 147 humans died in those 4 hours, died protecting strangers. Harris stood on the bridge of the damaged Relentless, receiving casualty reports. Each name was a person he knew, a life given in service. He would write to their families, explain how they died heroes, but first he had to finish the mission. Status of civilian casualties. "Minimal, sir. The colony is secure. Evacuation of wounded is underway. We saved them," his executive officer reported. "Then it was worth it," Harris said quietly. When Torin arrived with the Council fleet, he found human ships battered but still operational, still protecting the colony, still on duty. He requested to meet Harris aboard the Relentless. What he saw changed him. Human crew members with burns and injuries, refusing medical care until their posts were covered. Engineers working 30-hour shifts to keep systems running. Officers coordinating rescue operations while bleeding from their own wounds. "Captain Harris, the Council owes you an apology. We debated while you acted. We questioned while you sacrificed. Humanity has proven itself beyond any doubt." Torin extended his hand in the human custom. "The vote is unnecessary. I will personally sponsor Earth's membership. Anyone who objects can face me." Harris shook his hand. "We did not do this for membership, High Counselor. We did it because it needed doing, but we would be honored to stand with the Council as equals, as partners, as friends." 3 months later, Earth was formally welcomed into the Galactic Council. Human ships began joint patrols with Council forces. Technology exchange programs started. Cultural missions launched. The galaxy was changing. Council species were learning from human determination. Humans were learning from council wisdom. Together, they were becoming something greater than either could be alone. The Relentless, fully repaired, prepared to depart on its first official council mission. Arvin's ship would accompany them, the old warrior and the human captain, allies now, friends even, as the two vessels jumped to slipstream together. Harris reflected on how far they had come. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors, not as servants, but as guardians, and the galaxy was safer for it.